In the previous video, we took a website for an existing Minecraft server, made a plan to redesign it using Figma, and encode it with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Today, we will continue with the design we started earlier and cover the second part of the site, which is the features section. Alright, so previously we covered the intro section. We designed pretty much this little header and then the progress bar and figured out the structure of the site. So at this point, let's just follow the same structure as before and do the next section, which is features. So what I'll do is I'll take whatever we have right now, the intro section, and I will just duplicate it. But for that, I will need to extend the frame that we have right now. Because at this point it's 1920 by 1080, but the actual site will be bigger than that. So we need to extend it. So what I'll do is I'll click on desktop 1 right here, so the frame itself, which has this little hashtag next to it. And I'm just gonna drag downwards. You might notice that one of the icons is messed up. That's because what happens with it is when you if you look at it right now, there's a constraint issue. Basically what this does is it kind of makes your design responsive, so you get to decide how your elements behave when the screen is resized in vertical direction or horizontal. So in this case, it's set to be centered if you do it horizontally, but then vertically right here, it's set to be scaled. So because of that, when I change the size of the whole frame, it tries to be proportionate to this size of our screen. So to fix that, all we have to do is just change this from scale to top, and that should fix the issue. Yep, oh, sorry, that's the wrong thing. Yeah, there you go. So this is fixed. Now let's move on to the next section. So to make it easier for ourselves, let's just copy the previous one by pressing Alt, left click, and then Shift, so that it stays within the boundaries and is aligned automatically. So then I'm gonna release all of this stuff, and there you go, we have a copy. And right away, let's rename our copy into something more meaningful. In this case, this is gonna be a features section, so let's just call it features. And yeah. Before we start the design, let me just give you a quick idea of what I'm trying to do with this section. So I'll just cover everything for now real quick, just to give you an idea. So we will have a smaller title on this one. Let me just make like this little black rectangle, just so it gives you an idea that this is a title. So we'll have a title here, some kind of text in this section. Then I want to have some features here, which is going to be a bulleted list, which is going to look something like this. And then at the bottom here, I want to feature some of the pictures from the server that people have posted on their Reddit. So it's going to look something like this. I mean, a bit more aligned than this, but you get the idea. Okay, so I think we can delete this welcome to part right here. We're not gonna use this button. I don't want to have any buttons here. I want to have a different picture here, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to have a much smaller heading right here. So this is not going to be our main heading. I should probably call this large heading because we're actually going to use the smaller heading more often than this one. But I guess since I named it main heading already, let's just come up with another name for another heading. And this is going to be smaller heading. So what I want to do with the smaller heading is change obviously the size. I know that most of the headings are going to be longer than just one word, which is .block. So I want to adjust it accordingly. So for now, let's just change it from 150 pixels of a font size to 50 pixels and try something like tons of games and events. That's gonna be our title for this features section. And yeah, I think this is not too bad. I think I'm gonna stick with it for now. This font size is, I think, what? 30 pixels. Yeah, 30 pixels works, I think. Maybe it's gonna be a little bit smaller, we'll see. Maybe this is gonna be a little bit bigger. Again, I'm still gonna try it out, but for now, let's just keep it like this. And so let's just keep it consistent with the previous section. So I believe that there was roughly 1, 2, 3, so 30 pixels between this text and the title. So let's do the same thing here. So I just put it all the way here, and then 1, 2, 3. So I'm pressing Shift and then arrow down 3 times. There you go. Let's align it to this line right here, this guide. And from the top, for now, let's try, so since this is 30 pixels, let's try 60 pixels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go, 60 pixels. And then again, we'll adjust it accordingly depending on how much space we have. The reason why it's so close to the top right now is because I'm anticipating that we will need that space for the bulleted list, which will go here, and then the pictures, which will go somewhere here. So yeah, let's just keep it here for now. Next, we'll do the features bulleted list. I actually have some prepared. So the things that I've picked up, this is not from the website, this is just from me. So it seems to me that Datblock has a lot of great events. It has a nice variety of servers. There's, I think, 8 of them at this point. There was one added relatively recently. Well, when I started this project, it was added. So yeah, and that was like a month ago. So there you go. And friendly community. People are pretty nice on the server. They're helpful. So I think, yeah, I think these are the main features, or at least the ones that I've came up with. So I'm gonna go with them. So yeah, great events. That's gonna be the first one. And okay, let's see. All right, so I'm thinking the space between these bulleted lists is gonna be smaller than between this body text and the title. So since we have 30 pixels here, let's just do half of that, so 15 pixels. So let's just align the first one. Or you know what, let's just take them all together. There's a little button here that basically aligns them to whatever, it calculates the space between them and then gives it the equal space everywhere. So right now it's 29 pixels. I'm gonna go into the right section over here and change it from 29 to 15 pixels. There you go. Yeah, that's more appropriate. At this point, I want to have some sort of a bullet here. And instead of going with something default like this, like a dash or a dot, I want to do something that would be more, I guess, Minecraft related. So what I'll do is I'll make a pixelated checkbox. And the way we're gonna do it is by downloading something from the internet. So let me just open that real quick. Let's just go on Google and type in check mark. And then go to the images and literally just take any of them. So I'm just gonna copy it and paste it here, like this. So we want to imitate the pixelated style. And the way we're going to do that is by basically making squares and then scaling it down. Yeah, that's it. That's the secret. All right, so the color is gonna be for now just maybe slightly different from this one, just so we can see it better. And yeah, let's just begin doing it. Okay, so let's try to make it a lot smaller than it is right now and see how that looks. Maybe let's move it to, what can it be? Maybe like 20 pixels. So width 20 pixels. Oh, sorry, let's link the width and height so we don't scale it. And yeah, so if you look at it from far away, it's not too bad. Maybe I want to add a little bit more depth to it by just taking a few of these blocks and kind of moving them a little bit. Or maybe even let's just take the whole thing, just duplicate it, and then just move it 1 pixel down, like this. And make it darker, like so. So now we have a little bit of depth going on. Let's just put them together, check mark like this. And there you go. We have our own pixelated check mark. Maybe let's make it into a component in case we want to play with it later. So I pressed this button right here to create a component. And let's move it to the list, like so. Okay, so what I'll do is for now, I just want to see how it looks. I'm gonna move it 10 pixels away from the actual text, so shift and left arrow. So one time, 10 pixels, like this. Maybe let's do 15 instead. So we already have 10 here. Let's do 15. So I'm gonna press the left arrow key without pressing shift, which is gonna move it to the left 1 pixel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Okay. Now let's copy it over, align it to the bottom of the text. Let's see how that looks. I feel like it's gonna blend in with the background, even though we will change this picture to something else. Yet still, I want to change the color. Good thing that we did make it into a component, because now we can just change the color of this one right here, so the original check mark that we made, and it should make the changes available everywhere. So let's try to play with this color. Let's make it brighter. Maybe something like this. And there you go, we have our check mark. I'm pretty satisfied with the way it looks. Now let's just take this list right here and group it together with each of these check marks. I think this looks good. Now let's just make sure this text is aligned and align these bullet lists to the guide as well. I'll maybe group them together. Yep, let's just group them together, call it feature list, just so we're organized. Now you might notice that the feature list that we just made is outside of the features group. Let's put it in the features group, somewhere here, and let's put it maybe right into the intro. Let's rename this from intro, because intro was the original group that we made for this, and let's just call it just text, because I know that we'll probably copy this slide to the next slide, so to the next section. So I don't want to rename it every time. Let's just keep it very generic for the inner group. So this is text. And we can even put the feature list inside of this text. So now we can just move everything together, which is good. One thing I forgot is to properly align this list to the body. So right now, the distance between this text and this heading is 30 pixels. So first of all, let's try doing that. And then if it's too much, we'll adjust maybe to 15. So I'm pressing shift as usual and clicking the arrow down. So 1, 2, 3, 30 pixels. And this looks good. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it like this. At this point, let's move on to the progress right here. Let's change the active button from this first one to the second one, because this is the second slide. And Figma has a pretty cool utility for this. So I'm selecting both of these. And as you can see, I have these little circles here. So I'm just gonna hold on a circle of the first one and move it down to replace the other one. So I've already prepared the pictures that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna show you them right now. So for the background, this is gonna be our picture. Let me just zoom in. I mean, it's hard to tell right now, but yeah, I'm gonna put it here in a second. Before I do that though, let me just go through all of the Reddit posts that I've went through to get these pictures, because I feel like these people kind of need some kind of recognition for what they did. So very good build, guys, good job. So this one, and actually this gentleman right here actually gave me some feedback on the previous videos, so thank you so much for that, and it's a great build. I hope you don't mind me using it. It's a non-commercial project. The video is not monetized, so yeah, I hope you all guys don't mind. So as I said, this is going to be our background, this picture right here. I just double click on the current background, on the current image, and drag our new image into this fill area, replace it. And I think it's pretty bright comparing to the previous one. So let's just change the exposure right away to something maybe like this. And let's preview it. Yeah, it's a bit too contrasty for my taste. So maybe let's just change the contrast as well. Maybe something like this. Although I think it's more, it's the texture part that is, it has a high contrast, not the actual, well, I mean the picture as well. And now it looks too plain. So let's move the contrast somewhere here. So we're removing just a little bit of contrast, just so it's not in our face when we're reading this text. I think actually I'm pretty satisfied with the way it looks. So we'll just keep it as is and move on to the gallery. So the gallery is going to consist of, what, I guess 6 pictures. Yeah, I've chosen 6 pictures plus the background. It's going to go here. So let's make the pictures right here. I'm just going to quickly plan it out for us. So it's going to be something like this. And to be consistent, since we have 15 pixels between the links here and then 30 pixels here, let's just keep 15 pixels between each of these guys. So I'm just going to select all of these guys and make sure that the space between them is 15 pixels. So shift and down for 10 pixels, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's make sure that they are aligned to each other. Yes, they are. This is perfect. And at this point, let's just make sure that the space between the horizontal cards is also 15. So 15 here. And there you go, there's our layout. Something like this. At this point, let's just put the pictures in. So instead of fill, each of these guys will have an image. So maybe actually, yeah, okay, let's just keep it like this for now. Add a fill here. Instead of the linear gradient, we will choose an image. Replace the old one and start drag and dropping the images. There you go. At this point, let's group them together and decide how much space we want to have between this section and the list. So I think it's gonna have quite a lot of space. In fact, right now it actually doesn't look too bad. So this is what, 100 pixels? Well, 113. So maybe let's do 120 since we have 60 pixels. No, we don't have 60 pixels anywhere. We have 30 pixels. Okay, so let's do 1, 2, 3. Definitely not. 4, 5, 6. So 60 pixels. Still not enough. 7, 8, 9, so 90 pixels. Maybe. Let's see. You know what? Maybe let's keep it 90 pixels. I think 120 would be a bit too much. Yeah, 90 pixels. Let's make sure it's aligned. And that's basically it. Yeah. At this point, we are 50% done with the design. In the upcoming video, we will cover the game mode section. If you enjoyed this video, it will mean a lot for me if you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I am planning on doing more content like this, as well as some shorter videos covering the web-related topics. Thank you for watching. I am looking forward to seeing you in the next video.